Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here, got another Master Duel video for you, and it's Monday, which means it is once again, of course, time for one of our weekly viewer specials. For those who are new to the series, new to the channel, or if you've just never watched one of these before, the idea is that every single week, I like to take out time to celebrate you all, the viewers, and show off some of the cool decks that you have been building and the games that you've been playing with those decks. So the idea is, of course, going to be watching your replays, and if you are interested in submitting your replays for the channel, then you're going to want to head down to the description below. You're going to find an invite link to the Discord server, and under the Master Duel section, there is a channel called Viewer Special Submissions where you can submit the replays. The main bit of information that I will be needing from you is your 9-digit player ID that will allow me to view your publicly saved replays. Do make sure they are publicly saved, otherwise I will not be able to see or show them on the channel. If you have multiple different replays, that's cool. You can do multiple different submissions. The main thing I ask is that you don't submit the same game over and over again, although we've never really had issues with that. If you want to leave some info about your game when you're leaving the player ID, that's very, very helpful, especially if you do have more than one public replay saved. You're definitely going to want to leave either your opponent's name or the date and time that you played the game, so that way I know which one you want me to see. It's also very, very helpful, actually, if you want to include like a little blurb about the game, even something as simple as I played this deck versus this deck. That alone is extremely helpful. But if you want to talk about how the game went, that is also definitely a-okay. I do go through pretty much every single one of these, and I typically do it a little bit more than 24 hours before this video comes out. But of course, if you're, submitting later than that, then I'll take a look at it for the next week's viewer special, right? But we only have time to feature so many replays per week, but I do make an effort when featuring people to kind of get a mix of both, like, people who have never submitted before. I definitely try to look out for that, as well as, people who have or may not have been featured in a while. So it's not like I have an official list or tally or anything. I just kind of try to keep track of it in my head. But just know that, like, I do try to make an effort to get as many people featured as possible. So I appreciate your understanding on that. But that, I think, is going to do it for a little explanation blurb here. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these games that have been submitted. Okay, so our first game comes to us from Madeless, aka, I think it was Surma? Yes, Surma over on the Discord here. We've got a duel here where we are going to be up against Red Dragon, or no, we are playing Red Dragon Archfiend / Centurion up against Magispecter. So definitely eager to see not only the build, but how this one plays out. I love that you can incorporate the Centurion package into so many different synchro archetypes. I want to try it out with Centurion Horus here pretty soon at some point. Okay, opponents going first. We do have Magnum Hut for at least some amount of disruption, although, again, yeah, we're up against Magispecter, so not really sure how much that one's actually going to end up coming up here. Otherwise, it's not the worst to open, like, an all-gas hand going second. If you're not going to open hand traps, you definitely want to open, like, all starters / extenders, for sure, so. Alright, they're making the new Magispecter Link 2 here, which lets them add back those monsters they linked away, and then set 2 more monsters from their deck into the pendulums, or into the extra deck, rather. Now setting up the QB and the Yada as the Pentascales, and penduluming out the Toad and Porcupine that were placed there. It's a very good card, that Magispecter Link 2. It's very good. Okay, setting Magispecter Wind. They did add the Trap card earlier as well, one of them anyway. Ooh, Secret Village as well. That's a bit of a yikes. Although we don't have any spell cards in hand, so I don't know how much it's actually going to matter to us. Okay. So we pretty much know the face downs are the 2 quick play spells and the trap card, right? Alright, going to lead with the Soul Resonator at a Bone Archfiend. Although even if that had been negated, it would have been fine because we already had a Bone Archfiend in hand. We can pitch the Vision Resonator with Bone Archfiend to add the Fiendish Golem. Now sending, actually don't remember at all which Resonator that was. Looks like it was Synchron Resonator. Synchron with a K, because we cannot have that accidental archetype bleed now, can we? Alright, here's Magispecter Tempest to negate the summon of Red Rising Dragon. Yeah, I think that's pretty smart on the opponent's part. I feel like I have definitely tried to disrupt the RDA deck at the Red Rising before. I think that's one of the deck's bigger choke points. I think it has actually been a while since I've played against the Red/Resonator deck. Alright, Magnum Hunt activating. They're going to use Magispecter Wind. The Kieran is also on the board, so we now have that to contend with as well. Wind bringing back the Toad. We can summon the Baldrake here by banishing a Bone Archfiend. Moving to battle phase, going to battle the Kieran. They're going to bounce, of course, so we'll slam into the Ryu instead. Sending Fiendish Golem and then getting the Druid Swarm before passing back over to them. Okay, so we're not in like a horrible spot here. Magispecter Wind getting activated here in response to our, I think that was Baldrake? Yeah, no, it was Druid Swarm, never mind, okay. Okay, so there's Druid Swarm. We're also going to summon Baldrake here. Makes sense to get our Disruption online. And of course, because, you know, Magispecters are not only a Pendulum deck, but also Wind. So, I mean, they will occasionally put a Light or Dark in the graveyard, but it's not like the Bestials are going to be Disruption against this deck like they can be against certain other decks, right? So, Toad setting the Cyclone, Kieran F trying to bounce itself, and Druid Swarm. We're going to use the Fiendish Golem, however, and target our own Druid Swarm to banish it, and then I think it'll come back during the end phase? Or maybe during the next standby phase, or it might even be the next end phase. To the end phase of the next turn, okay, yep. So, Magispecter Wind is going to pop the Baldrake. We're swinging in with the Magnum HUD here still. Definitely having to play the control game a bit here, as will often happen when you're playing against Magispecters. They definitely seem more of like a control-y Pendulum deck than a super combo-y Pendulum deck like Supreme King / Penda Magicians can be. Ooh, we're making Chaos Angel here. That's pretty good. We can use Chaos Angel to get rid of one of their Pend scales. And then they're going to have a bit of a time coming back, unless they just have it at their 5 scale, which they don't. That is the thing that I always like to note when playing against Pendulum, is like, especially in a grind game like this, if you have a way to disrupt the scales, then that's going to disrupt a lot of their strategy. That's definitely something to be mindful of when you're playing against, again, not just Magispecters, but Pendulum in general. It's also a reason why I typically like to use Ash Blossom earlier against Pendulum decks than I would against most other decks. I don't want them to get their search cards, because if they can search the Pendulum scales that they need, then they have plays. But if you leave a Pendulum deck with only what's in their opening hand, it's actually kind of hard to open like the right Pendulum scale and multiple monsters that you want to summon. So, very, very, very general basic rule, but if you're playing against Pendulum deck, try attacking the scales to stop most of their plays. Alright, you get to throw down the Trudea here again before moving to battle, and this might just be it. Yep, looks like that is just going to be it. Actually, not that surprising, as a lot of the face-down cards, if they are Magispecter spell and trap cards, pretty much all of them do require you to tribute a Magispecter monster to activate them. So, without any monsters, they can't use the back rows, and of course, that does lend to the whole strategy of attacking the opponent's Pendulum scales to keep them off of their stuff. I think we also knew one of the cards in hand was Kieran, right? Because it had bounced itself, so, of course, that also is not able to be accessed when they don't have a full Pendulum scale. So, that was good. That was really good stuff. Thank you, Madeless, aka Surama. Let's check out our next game here. Alright, our next game comes to us from Ban Maxi, like I've seen this username before, who is known as Pyrus Dude over on the Discord server. We're going to have a game here where we are playing Branded against Mannadium. We're going to be breaking a Mannadium board today with this this Branded hand we're about to see here. So we kind of figures that we're going second. Yeah, I wanted to show this game because it's been a while since Branded has been played on this channel. I'm just not that into Branded, I'm not gonna lie. Branded and Lab both, I don't really play them often on the channel because I'm not really, like, into them as decks. Branded also, like, the comments are always, like, you know, I try to preface every Branded video like, hey, I'm not a Branded main, so I'm probably gonna miss a lot of the minor nuances of this deck. And, you know, then of course every comment will be like, you know, you were making suboptimal plays, you know, which, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to argue, I don't want to try to sound like I'm complaining about people pointing out my misplays in general. That's definitely something that I welcome. I think for me, it's more of, like, that it's just a bunch of, like, really, really minor stuff. And I guess to me, like, I don't know. It's more of the fact that it's just the attitude about it, I think, right? Like, because I feel like the comments on the branded videos in particular were more of the direction of, like, this person sucks at branded, why are they making a video about it? And between getting that comment enough and also just not enjoying playing branded myself, I was like, okay, no more branded videos then. Now here, looking at our opponent's Mannadium board, it's a little weird, but not horrible or anything. Well, what did they start with here? Let me actually scroll back up because I was kind of yapping. Because I saw Rimheart come down at some point, but I feel like we're not... Are we about to make Cross Sheep here or what? So we rooted for right carded. Oh yeah, I saw that we normaled Samsara to start, which I thought was a little bit weird. And then we added Starfrost. Especially because they had Rimheart. But we could just special it. Okay. Meek for Trisukta, and then we went up to Armor Terra for the reframing. Oh, we linked Lightheart for a Lightheart, I see. Okay, and then that's where we're at right now. Okay, there's Cross Sheep. Yeah, okay, I see where we're at in the combo line right now. But yeah, like, I don't know. I feel like Brandon and the Lab also both are, like, they can be very hard to keep track of as decks. I think it's one of the things I struggle about them. Like, there's so many moving parts. There's so many, like, graveyard effects. There's so many end phase effects. I mean, for Branded, you know, the end phase is pretty much main phase 3 for them, so. Alright, Dissipator bringing back the Visas. Samsara coming down here. Wow, this opponent just had, like, everything. Yeah, you know that the Mannadium opponent has a lot when they can afford to make a Shengyang, jeez. Oh, that's weird. I wonder why. Maybe there's some misclicked on the Astral Out effect to activate it. Ending on Little Knight's a bit strange. They could have ended on an Appaloosa here. Also, I don't know why they're banishing their own Lightheart, but okay. Not horrible. I think they could have done like a little bit better, but this is, for all intents and purposes, a full Mannadium end board here. So our hand's looking really, really good actually here. Got a Lubellian pitch for Saronir. Braden High Spirits, we get to reveal the Saronir and then pitch it, send Albion for Guiding Quem. This will let us use the Saronir effect here, sending a branded spell or trap, which is of course going to be Retribution. Normal summon Quem, send Albion. Albion effect here gets to send the branded Lost, and then shuffle back. Now we can use Fusion Deployment, which here is where the opponent's going to use the Mannadium reframing. So that's actually really good. I'm glad that we got this out of the way. Also, on the Mannadium player's part, I think I probably would have used Baron de Fleur first. Being able to have a counter trap Omni Negate in particular is, I think, noticeably more powerful than just having a regular Omni Negate, because what reframing can do, or what any kind of counter trap that Omni Negates can do, is not only negate the effect, but also effectively put a stop to the chain link, you know? It's like, no more effects on this chain link unless you have another counter trap, which they do tend to be pretty few and far between, right? Alright, reframing is going to put back our Meeks and our Trisukta here. Or their Meek and Trisukta, rather. The Shengyang effect also proccing here. Get to add back that Lost we sent. And they get to banish the Quem. As well as the Albion. But we have branded Lost, which they are going to bound. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I think that makes sense. But we do still end up having the branded fusion, so just kind of funneling all of our resources into baiting the opponent's stuff before the branded fusion comes down. That is why you have to be a little bit particular about how you use negates against branded. Opponent does still have the Dissipator effect here to negate Albion by shuffling back the Quem. However, we can sack it off for the Lubellian. Lubellian can potentially place... Oh no, we already placed... or they already destroyed Branded Lost, that's right. Looks like they're going to Little Knight as we summon Springen's Kit. Kit F's going to add the Branded in white. We can put that Albaz back into our deck, and then Branded in white is going to allow us to continue our plays, fusing the Albaz and Albion that are in the graveyard to go for Mirror Jade, the Ice Blade Dragon. Now from here we can use Mirror Jade's effect, banish that Shang Yang. Now our monsters are back up to almost full attack. Just still missing a little bit because of the field spell there. Passing into the opponent, who is on now Pater and 2, soon to be 3 cards in hand. Never mind, disregard the Pater, that is getting fused away. That's good, I was gonna say, having the Pater still on the end board is a little scary there. We get to make the Borload Furious Dragon now. They do get their Baron back, and because it came back to the field with Little Knight, it is actually going to have its Omni Negate again. That is worth noting. Also worth noting is that we're not going to be able to banish with Mirror Jade this turn because we did it last turn. We do still have the Borload Furious to potentially use as disruption here, but it looks like the opponent is still going to have a decent amount of plays. Here we're going to use the Borload Furious, and here is the Baron Omni Negate. So they're also going to pop the Mirror Jade. This will, of course, give us the board wipe effect here. Except not, because they're going to call by. Wow. Alright. Let's see what, let's see if they actually have another 10 to go into. No, they don't. I didn't think so. Because they already played Baron and Pater. And you usually play one more 10 beyond that. Typically either Shang Yang or Chaos Angel. Is that a time limit? Is that a time limit win? No, it was a surrender. Wow, that's insane. I thought that was going to be a time limit win for sure. Huh. I feel like that was a bit early of a surrender on the opponent's part. Maybe they just got frustrated at the fact that they weren't able to clear out the our resources here that we got back at the Cartesia. But yeah, I mean, either way, we'll definitely take it. So that was some pretty good stuff. We did, in fact, end up playing through that Mannadium end board, and quite well, if I may say so. So thank you very much for that submission. Let us check out one more here before we end off. Alright, one final game we're going to watch here against Drummond, or, sorry, played by Drummond. Let's go ahead and check this one out here. We're going to be playing Orcust, Horus, and I think we're up against Yubel, if I recall correctly. So, Orcust is just, it's one of those archetypes that I've been, like, on the cusp of crafting for, like, a while now, but, yeah, I still don't own Girasu's and then Ding Girasu. I think it's pretty much all I would need as far as, like, URs go to be able to, well, and then also I think Long Girasu, no, that's also an SR. So yeah, those are pretty much the URs that I'm missing, and it's just one of those decks where, like, it interests me, but there's just usually something else out there, right, that I'm a little bit more interested in. So here we're going to lead with the King Sark pitching 2 cards to send the Dumatef and Imseti, which we're then going to overlay to go for the number 90 Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord. Gonna then Foolish Burial the Harp Horror. Orcust Harp Horror effect will let us special an Orcust from the deck. It's going to, of course, be Girasu. Girasu F sending the World Legacy World Wand, which can then banish itself to bring back the banished Harp Horror. We're then going to link off the Girasu and Harp Horror in order to go for the Galatea. Now from here, Galatea's effect is going to target the World Wand, shuffle that back. Now we can set the Crescendo, and then pass over to the opponent. So, yeah, I mean, not the most, like, impactful turn one, but we do have the Monster Negate of number 90, as well as the Omni Negate Counter Trap of Orcust Crescendo. Looks like the opponent is leading off with Phantom of Yubel here. Putting back Yubel, the Ultimate Nightmare, is kind of interesting. This is a card that you can play in Yubel, but I think it's a little bit win more. I generally wouldn't advise it myself, but the nice thing about Yubel is that even if you open your Garnets that you don't want to, you can always just put them back and then get a Phantom. So it looks like they had another Dark Beckoning Beast, which we're going to Ash Blossom here. Opponent's going to immediately fire off the Phantom of Yubel effect, which we can simply, use the number 90 on. So that's pretty simple there. Let's see if they, or what they have rather, in the way of extenders for their hand. Also, I do like ashing the Beckoning Beast so they don't get the opening of the Spirit Gates here. They do indeed have the extra normal for the Samsara D Lotus, which is going to sack itself off for Spirit of Yubel. That is going to get hit with the Counter Trap Orcust Crescendo. Now, does this destroy? It banishes. Perfect. Okay. So, not having to deal with the Spirit getting the regular Yubel here. They are going to summon another Phantom here, and then looks like they're going to use the Dark Beckoning Beast to go into the Star Slayer Typhon Sky Crisis. Always good a backup play as ever. Putting back the number 90, battling over our Galatea, and then passing back over to us. So we do have to kind of play through our Phantom of Yubel here. However, we also still have the King Sark up, so we can always just, bring back Dumatef and Imseti. Gonna move straight to battle phase, battle over the Typhon, and then we can use the King Sark to get rid of the Phantom of Yubel. That's good. Now we're in a very favorable spot. And I mean, this really is the strength of the Horus package right here, right? Just the fact that you get so much recursion that as long as you can keep the King Sark around, you are pretty much still good to go. And we're also seeing the strength of the Orcust package here as well. Not the only graveyard-based engine here, as even just using all the stuff that was in the graveyard after our turn 1 combo, we can then go into another combo line with it. As you can see here, we're about to end on IP plus Galatea to go into, I imagine we are on Little Knight. Yep, and we have the ability to make Little Knight, with extra deck monsters. So here's another Phantom. We're going to use the IP effects. Looks like they're going to use Phantom of Yubel's effects, which we are once again going to negate with the number 90 Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord. This once again leaves him with 1 card in hand. And I don't know if Yubel... Oh, but then we still get the IP effect, too. So we also still have more Disruption in Little Knight. And I don't know what 1 card... I guess they still have a normal summon, so it could still be Lotus, and it is! Wow! I was about to say, what 1 card could Yubel have here? And I was like, wait, do they have a normal summon? Okay, it could be Lotus, and then it actually was. That's crazy. But here we can use Little Knight to banish itself in Spirit, so even if they're going to set Nightmare Pain, or I guess Eternal Favor in this case... yeah, if they had set Nightmare Pain, they wouldn't have had anything they could have done with it anyway, so... Alright, as usual, we're going to lead by bringing back Horus monsters. We're going to activate Eternal Favorite. We're going to use the SP Little Knight on the Spirit here. Okay, so yeah, they can just bring it back. Which is still fine, it's still 1 less body than they would have had. Actually, does summon monsters that mention... one of your Yubel monsters that is banished or in your graveyard. Okay, so they're going to bring back a Spirit either way, so... yeah, by using Little Knight, we just make them have 1 Spirit instead of 2. Oh, here's the Longirasu. This is some weird Link heroes. It's kind of cool. Alright, Imseti coming back. Hardpour F to summon the Symbol Skeleton. Oh, and then we get to send the Spirit of Yubel. That's cool that Longirasu sends. Because I think that's why it didn't proc the Spirit, right? Let me read Longirasu again. Shuffle in the deck, then you can send 1 Link monster your opponent controls to the graveyard. Yep. And then Spirit of Yubel says when this card is destroyed. So, yep. That's send versus destroy coming up there. Got the access code, and looks like that is going to be enough to get our opponent to concede. So that was good. That was really, really cool. I think what I appreciated most about this game was seeing how we were able to come back on the follow-up turn with, again, so little resources in our hand. Orcust, Horus, or I guess Orcust in general, too, kind of feels like Phantom Knight in that way, where, like, as long as you still have all the stuff in your graveyard that you used on turn 1 to combo, that stuff in the graveyard is enough by itself to make a follow-up play without you having to top deck anything additional. So that's cool. That's really cool. Thank you very much, Drummond, and of course everyone else who submitted for this week's viewer special. I love that there's still so much excitement for this series. It's been our longest ongoing series on the channel, and it definitely warms my heart that, you know, people are still submitting, because we can do this series if people were not showing us their cool games. So thank you all so much. Super appreciated. But yeah, let's just go ahead and move now to our outro. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Just want to give you a huge thanks for watching all the way to the very end of the video. Believe it or not, that is actually one of the best ways that you can support the channel, is by watching the videos in their entirety. But there are many ways in which you can support the channel if you are so interested. The names that you're seeing on screen here, I gotta give an extra special thanks to, because these are people who have chosen to either become a member on YouTube, which if you're interested you can do as well via the join button next to the subscribe button down down there, or have signed up over on Patreon and become members there. Link to that is going to be in the description below. Without the support that is being offered by, again, all the people that you're seeing on screen right here, I would not be able to take the time to dedicate to uploading daily YouTube videos. So thank you so very much. But there are also other ways you can support as well. Again, link to the description below. If you like my deck tracker that you'll see in a lot of my videos, the Untapped Companion, you can download that for free, and if you use my affiliate link down there, then that also goes a long way towards supporting the channel. That's, again, free. So is subscribing here on YouTube. That's also free and a huge way to support. You can also check out Twitch, once again linked in the description below. Following and subscribing over there will not only support as well, but also give you notifications of when I go live if you want to catch some of the live streams. But really, no matter how you choose to support, it all adds up, and it all definitely means the world. So thank you, each and every one of you. For now, this is Hexlex. I'm going to be signing out, but more than that, I'm hoping that you have a fantastic day.